Hello, welcome to this address webinar on Autodesk Subscription. In the next 20 minutes or so we're going to be discussing some of the benefits available to you as a subscription user. Typically where you'll have the ability to automatically receive updates, some licensing, extra benefits, prior version rights, home user rights, extra territory rights. You'll have access to downloading what are called advantage packs. There are some e-learning functionality, some podcasts, training videos and e-learning courses. You also have access to some web support, so you could communicate directly with an Autodesk tech support engineer on installation and configuration. What's referred to as Autodesk University white papers, which is the documentation that comes with an event held in the States on a yearly basis with regards to Autodesk products, and also the Autodesk knowledge base. So typically, just to run through those and give you a little bit more detail. Automatically receive updates. So should you decide to invest in subscription, you would be entitled to an update within your subscription period. To make that financially attractive, you would typically expect to receive a 30% discount over if you were to upgrade, say on a 3-yearly period, and then you were to skip a release. By investing in subscription, you'd expect to save somewhere typically around 30%. Obviously, this is just an approximate figure. What I'd recommend that you do is contact your your address account manager, who will be able to give you specific details on the savings available. But certainly going down the subscription route would be financially attractive. Prior version rights. So should you invest in subscription, you can load the very latest version of the software, and also legally you could use up to a maximum of 3 prior versions of the software. So you could use concurrently your existing system, the current version, and then previous releases. Home user rights. Should you choose to, if you wish to work at home, one of the benefits of subscription is you'll have the ability to load the system on another PC, typically maybe a laptop, and then from the same serial number you could request from Autodesk another authorization code, and they would provide it for you. Extra territory rights. Should you choose to leave the country and to work abroad, you could request a license for use outside of the country. Advantage packs. Again, these are extra functionality that will give you the ability to load extra functionality. So these typically might be things like utilities or documentation or additional associated programs, just to give you extra functionality. And I'll expand further on the web support and the other outstanding items in a moment. So how is the subscription hierarchy organized? So at the top of the tree we have what's called a contract manager. Typically this would be the person who would deal with the contractual aspect of subscription. This person would be receiving renewal notices, typically on 90, 60, 15 and then 7 days prior notice. This person would typically have full privileges and access to the whole system. They can, in addition, name what are called software coordinators. So if it was a large organization, rather than one individual, the contract manager, having to deal with the day-to-day running and the financial aspects of the subscription center, the contract manager could nominate one or more software coordinators. The software coordinator would be the person who would deal with the day-to-day running of the system. They would be the ones who would receive notification of new releases and any extensions that will be available, advantage packs. These would be the people who would actually receive the upgrades. In addition, these people, the the software coordinators also have the ability to name the users. So the users, of course, would be the people who would be actually using the e-learning system, the web support, etc. If it wasn't such a large organization, of course, it could be that the contract manager serves all three roles and they have access to the full system. So it's really up to you how you choose to organize the setting up of the subscription. So having signed up for subscription, typically you would expect to find a welcome email directly from Autodesk. So typically this would be sometime after actually having signed on the dotted line. This is the welcome email that would provide initially a user ID and a temporary password. You would need these to actually gain access to the subscription website. If you're revisiting subscription after having signed up but not actually used the system or activated the system, you might have forgotten or have lost the email. Simply ring your account manager and we can then contact Autodesk on your behalf, who could then send the email system to you once again. In addition, this is also a very convenient means of identifying who the software thinks, so who the system thinks you are, whether or not you're a contract manager, or whether you're a software coordinator, or indeed a user. So having identified the system, having signed up, you then have access to the welcome page. So how do you actually get access to this welcome page? Well, you can click on the link which is from the welcome email, which is the Access Subscription Centre. Alternatively, you can log on to autodesk.co.uk, not the com site. On the autodesk.co.uk site, there's a subscription member login. You can click on that link and it will take you directly to subscription. Alternatively, you can just type in subscription.autodesk.com and then it will take you directly to it. Or alternatively, just simply do a Google Autodesk subscription and it will take you once again to the subscription website. So having got access to the site and you're trying to log in, you've provided your user ID and your temporary password. You also, at that page, if you choose to, have access to what's called the program guide. This is a PDF file which basically explains the whole process. So if you wanted a means of reviewing the data that I'm actually providing to you here, you can just click on this link and read the PDF and everything will be explained. So having gained access to the welcome page, you can then from here gain access to the different aspects of the site. So this is the gateway to the site, if you like. From here you can gain access to all of its constituent parts. Over here on the top right hand corner, if you wanted to change your password, you can come up here to My Profile and then this will allow you to alter different aspects of your contract, whether or not it's your name, address, etc. From this page you can then gain access to these advantage packs or downloads that I was requesting. So having selected on the downloads link, it then takes you to the download advantage pack. So here you gain access to whether you choose to download the latest version, the latest extension, any documentation or any utilities. So typically these extensions would be extra functionality, extra programs giving you additional benefit that you just wouldn't have access to if you were not a subscription user. Typically these are on a 6-month cycle, so if you were to sign up for subscription, 6 months, typically after 6 months afterwards you'd have access to, or some of these new extensions would be published and you'll have access to them. It's on this page that you also have the ability to request a DVD. The default is now to download the latest update, or whether it be an extension. If you would prefer to receive a DVD, here is your where you can request that you're sent a DVD, a hard copy, in the post rather than having to download it. You would also be entitled to some training functionality within the subscription site, typically e-learning. These are 15 to 30 minute self-paced exercises based mainly for beginners. So this would be a gentle introduction to some of the functionality, allowing you to explore the basics at your own pace. If you wanted something a little bit more demanding, aimed at intermediate users, we have training videos. So this is typically not exercises but concepts, giving you some of the more advanced features of the software. And lastly, podcasts. So if you choose to, you can download a podcast, and these typically would be tips and tricks, things that maybe not be that obvious, that just give you, again, extra functionality and access to some of the tools that you might not have previously known about. Coming down, we have how to get started. So these are videos, and typically, depending upon your product, you can link in the catalogue, and then it will just give you the basic, a gentle introduction to the software and how to get up and running with that particular version of the software. Coming over here on the right hand side, we have the Autodesk University courseware that I referred to, the white papers. So this event is held every year by Autodesk User Group International. It's called Autodesk University. It's a 2-day event typically held in Las Vegas, where experts in a particular Autodesk software package will enlighten the audience on a particular aspect of their software. So these are very knowledgeable people, and well worth attending if you get the opportunity. As a subscription user, you have access to the documentation that comes along with those seminars, white papers. Well worth looking at. They expand on the functionality of software and just really make it that much easier to use. And then lastly, Autodesk Knowledge Base. So as a subscription user, you have access to a huge database of typical problems with their resolution. So if you have a particular issue, you can go onto this knowledge base website, type in a keyword, and then you'll be offered typical solutions to that particular problem. If you choose to, you can also gain access to help directly from an Autodesk technical support guy who will help you with installation and configuration problems. So you have the ability via the subscription website to fill out an appropriate form and then communicate directly with an Autodesk tech support engineer, and then in due course he will reply to your query with possible solutions to your problem. If you wish to manage that process, you have what's called a case management tool. And this is basically your means of determining the status of your support request. So from here you can inquire as to whether or not it's been replied to, or particularly what the status is. This is typically what the relevant form would look like. You fill out the relevant details, the product, the operating system, and then just a summary of the problem, to allow somebody to get back to you with a potential solution. We have, as a subscription user, also access to what's called a coverage report. So if you're a large organization and you have possibly a large number of different versions of the software, this is your means of actually gaining access to the status of your system. It will give you the status. You'll be allowed to review the software products, their serial numbers, and a whole series of additional details, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes on the next slide. So typically, the coverage report will tell you the serial numbers of your products, the product key, what level of Autodesk support that you might or might not have, the product with the version, which language, whether it's a standalone or a network deployment, the quantities, who the software coordinator is, and your reseller. So a very convenient means, very quick and easy means of just getting the status of your current stock holding. As I mentioned before, you also have the ability to gain access to home user use. So this is your means of requesting an additional software license for home use. So typically this could either be for your own personal education or the company's internal business needs. So typically this might be where you have a laptop where you might wish to go home and continue working, or just load the software and activate the software on so that you could maybe just learn some new products. These can either be based on a standalone or network versions. If it's a standalone, the serial number will be the same, and if it were a network version, then it would be a different serial number that would be available for you on the home use. And then lastly, we have the ability to download or to use previous versions. So you upgrade to the very latest version, you're using that at work. You might also want to have the ability to concurrently use different versions of the software, prior versions. As a subscription user, you have access to potentially 3 previous versions. Not all the products are available for previous use, however, so there is an Autodesk PDF file available that you can click on this link here, and it will give you access to a list of all of the products which are available for previous version. Okay, thank you for your attention. I hope this has been of use. If you'd like any additional details, please feel free to contact your account manager, who would be happy to provide any additional details. But thank you for your time, and goodbye.